Hello everyone. If you are someone considering a career in human resource management or related fields, this might be a good video for you. Many students wonder what's the difference between IO psychology and human resource management. I'll try to answer some of these questions in this video. To understand different professionals who help with managing people in organizations, I like to use a conference table metaphor with people sitting around the two sides of the table. There are two main parties, the company or the employer and the employee. Most professions in managing people are focused on primarily serving one of the two key stakeholders. And here, by serving, I'm talking more in terms of the payment model. Who pays for the services of the professional? So let's first talk about employer-focused model. In terms of professional training, when it comes to employer-focused professionals, the dominant academic training is provided by business schools. Here, the key professional track is to be a human resource management professional, either as a generalist or a specialist. A typical career pathway starts with an entry-level HR position. Of course, having an MBA helps you be successful in your career progression. Human resource management is not a regulated profession where you need a license or a board certification, unlike in many other professions, such as if you are a lawyer or an accountant or an engineer. Nonetheless, there exist non-profit professional organizations offering credentialing to HR professionals. Two major organizations are HRM and HRCI. HRM or APR certification is not required to practice human resource management in USA. Certifications are to improve professional credentials. HRM offers two levels, HRM CP and HRM SCP. HRCI offers 4 levels and 8 certificates. To reiterate, you really do not need by law any certification to be an HR professional, but to increase your career prospects, it really increases your resume value if you have one of these certifications. Now let's talk about IO psychology, or industrial and organizational psychology, and how it's related to the profession of HRM. IO psych programs are offered by psychology programs, and in a typical US university, they are housed in a College of Arts and Sciences. Whereas specialization in human resource management at graduate and undergraduate levels are offered by business schools. In general, if you are vying for a typical corporate career, then human resource management specialization by a business school would probably work better for you. Typically, it's the business schools that have closer partnerships or street credits with corporate sector, and that also helps you getting a degree from a business school. In addition to closer ties, and perhaps because of that, business programs are more aligned with the training students need to work in the HR field. For example, compared to IO psych programs, HRM programs provide more focus on systems and processes and solving problems at this level when managing people in organizations. By and large, business school training gives you a more macro view of issues, training in concepts at levels of teams and business processes, organizational and team structures, internal company systems, strategy, budgeting, and planning. A typical human resource management major also gets some training in related business disciplines such as accounting, finance, supply chain, marketing. Thus, the human resource management educational training fits the corporate model and helps business students learn how to think in business terms. In contrast, the focus of IO psychology is on the individual. By this, I mean the psychology of an individual in the workplace. Psychology is a very broad field with many specializations, such as developmental psychology and clinical psychology. And of course, IO psychology is a subdiscipline that focuses on workplace. In contrast to human resource management, where we focus on systems and processes, the dominant themes in IO psychology are individual level, such as how to design scientifically valid tests and methods, for example, assessment centers, intelligence tests, personality tests. Psychologists are really good in designing, measuring, and analyzing job relevant testing tools and methods that are based upon rigorously tested theories of human behavior in organization. IO psychology also focuses on intrapersonal processes such as emotions, attitudes, motivations, behaviors, and interpersonal processes such as relationships between coworkers or relationship with the supervisor. These types of within person and interpersonal psychological processes are also taught in business schools under the discipline of organizational behavior. Again, unlike IO psychology, the organizational behavior discipline focuses more on work behaviors and even considers issues at team and organizational level. OB helps you understand what motivates human behavior in workplace, how to shape it, whereas human resource management helps you implement that knowledge at a system or process level. So generally speaking, you should take an OB course before you take a human resource management course. So think of where you fit and then decide whether HRM is the right pathway for you or are you more interested in IO psychology. Generally speaking, business schools will land you in a better paid job in a corporate world. Now, within the employer-focused profession, there is another lesser-known player, a behavior scientist. Have you heard of Skinner and his behaviorism? Behavior scientists are trained in applied behavior analysis. When you think of behavior scientists, you are thinking of BCBAs who typically provide treatment programs for autistic children. But behavior analysis is a very general and broad field based on behavior sciences. Behaviorism is a whole philosophy of the behavior of an organism. It is very technical field. It is well grounded in empirical evidence and has many applications. One of its application is organization behavior management, which is a subdiscipline of ABA. It sounds similar to OB and many people get confused about it, but OBM is a subfield within behavior analysis. Though conceptually OB and OBM can benefit from each other, generally the academic pathways of business faculty and OBM faculty rarely cross. And OBM and IO psychology are often more aware of each other's existence, typically because many behavior analysis programs are housed within College of Arts and Sciences and sometimes even in psychology departments. So the business school academics are generally unaware of the existence of OBM, and neither OBM folks really know about something that is called OB. OBM practitioners will generally work in areas such as worker safety, in factories, behavior modifications for challenging work behaviors such as non-compliance or aggression, worker productivity increases, providing feedback or dealing with staffing issues in ABA service providing firms. So OBM typically is even narrower but scientifically rigorous and very coherently grounded in applied behavior sciences. Single person data observation, rigorous design, testing, and individual employee interventions. All of these are really the strong forte of OBM practitioners. Let's talk about employee-focused professions. Two main areas within this are vocational counselors and job coaches. Academically, they are trained either in counseling and or psychology programs. Typical employment settings are schools, universities, private coaching practices. The main focus is on helping the individual find the best fit for their talents by choosing the right profession. Job coaches, and many types exist, help employees develop strategies to achieve career success. Executive coaches, who help senior level executives typically earn the most. It is an unregulated industry, and job coaches really have very eclectic backgrounds. Typically, it has low barriers to entry compared to other fields such as becoming a psychologist or a behavior analyst, as you need state licenses and entry level exams that are required by law. One subcategory of job coaches are professionals who help persons with disabilities to navigate the employment world. Typically, such vocational coaches are hired by state vocational rehabilitation agencies or nonprofit organizations. Some of these individuals might also have private practices. So, in short, there are many pathways to becoming a human service professional within workplace. And I hope that my video helped you understand these pathways and think a little bit more about where you fit. Thank you so much for tuning in.